and I wish it wasn't out of line to tell him so. The waiter never seems to get my order right. Seems like I got to complain almost every night. How much longer can I take this abuse? I try to be nice, but what's the use when I'm the only one that does anything right? Sometimes it seems like the world is run by chimpanzees, even though some of them might come with college degrees. It's getting hard to separate the facts from fiction, but I think I can say with obvious conviction that in this old world, everybody's wrong but me.
Welcome to Uncommon Sense. My name is Charlotte Laws, and today we're going to be discussing the two-party political system, who might be the most environmental president, the happiest place on earth, and I don't mean Disneyland, and the city that has the prettiest women. But first I would like to introduce my esteemed panelists. We have Mr. Charles Parselle, who is a very intelligent attorney and also happens to be my husband. And then we also have Garret Swayne, who is a talented singer-songwriter.
Not particularly intelligent.
Very intelligent also, I must add. So I thought at the beginning we would just talk a little bit about the election before we go into the other topics. And one thing I was wondering is, who do you think is going to be between McCain and Obama, who do you think is going to be the most environmental president? Okay, well, let me give you my opinion.
Okay.
Because
I had a feeling you
Oh,
would.
complete silence.
Okay.
Yes,
Well,
I'm always used to getting your opinion first.
I know you are.
Middle and last.
That's true.
Right.
Well, I read that the League of Conservation Voters gave McCain a 26% rating and Obama an 86% rating. And so
Positive for the environment.
positive, yeah, the higher the better.
Okay.
And then I did further research into why these numbers came out the way they did, and the League had completely based Obama's rating on a speech he gave, which I couldn't even believe. Whereas McCain, he had the first balanced climate hearings. He's very big on, helping the environment and, ending the global warming problem. He's sponsored lots of different legislation with regards to this. He's gone against his party. So he's passionate about the issue, and
Right.
he's shown himself to be passionate about the issue, whereas Obama doesn't have the votes or anything to, uphold that.
Let me
Obama
see if I
hasn't
can
done
guess who you favor.
He's a toughie. Do you think you can
the
figure it
problem
out?
is Obama hasn't done much. I mean, he's said a lot of stuff. He's said a lot of stuff, and but he's talked about being the bipartisan president, but McCain has walked.
But he hasn't
has walked
proved
the talk.
himself,
Right,
yeah.
right.
No, I
So
agree.
I'm not saying he couldn't be that way, but in terms of who's proven himself.
I mean, I think people think, oh, he's the Democrat, so he's going to be the environmentalist, but I don't think that's true. I think if you are willing to go over party lines and risk the wrath of your own party for an issue, that means you're passionate about the issue, more likely to take it forward.
Right.
Plus, you can get along with the other party on that issue, especially when you have a Democratic Congress.
I'm curious why he only got a 26% rating.
I don't know.
I'd like to see these figures.
They're suspicious.
They sound
aren't they?
suspicious. Sound partisan to me.
The idea that you would have a non-environmental administration is so shocking. It's true, we've lived
We
with
have
it.
one right now.
Yeah.
So I do understand that. We have been living with anti-environment people for quite a long time. But since all of us, without exception, live in the environment, the idea of not taking care of the environment is so fantastic that it makes one sincerely hope that whoever is elected will take care of the place that we all live in.
I agree. I just wanted, before we go on to the next topic too, I wanted to ask you, do you have any suggestions for who you think Obama and McCain should choose for vice presidential candidates? The Democratic convention starts in a few days, and the Republican is in about a week and a half. And so we're going to be hearing their choices, and I'm just wondering who you think is a smart choice.
Oh, smart choice? Well, I'll tell you who I think. I think Obama is going to pick Hillary because, I mean, I don't think it'll be a smart choice, but I think he's going to...
Practical. You don't think it's smart?
No, because I think it'll cause him to lose for other reasons, you know, because I think if the conventional wisdom is that would be the dream ticket, but it's not going to be the dream ticket, because what's going to happen is the Republicans will go back and visit the whole Clinton perjury, you know, as chief law enforcement officer of the United States is the president, and when he commits perjury, that is an impeachable offense. It's like a no-brainer. The Republicans are going to come back, revisit that, and ask Hillary, you know, why in the world, and ask Obama whether he thinks that, you know, perjury is not, you know, on the part of the chief law enforcement officer of the United States is not an impeachable offense. It will open up that issue, and this time the Republicans will not allow it to be spun just about sex. And I think ultimately the Democrats will go down if he does that. That's my prediction. That's what's going to happen.
What do you think?
Quite apart from the fact that when you're talking ancient history, Hillary Clinton has never been accused of perjury. William Jefferson...
But she supported his staying in office.
I might as well finish the whole sentence.
I'm sorry.
William Jefferson Clinton at that time, actually, it was an impeachable offence, and correct me if I'm wrong, he was impeached and acquitted. It's over. End of story.
Well, who do you think they should choose? I mean, who do you think would be the best VP for both candidates?
I don't particularly care who John McCain chooses, because it's a forlorn hope. As far as Obama, I think Joe Biden is great on foreign
I think
policy.
Joe Biden would be the best
guy.
choice.
I think Hillary Clinton is an extremely capable person, and I think it would be great to have a woman vice president. I think there's I would expect there'd be such a personality issue between the president and the vice president that it would be a very difficult choice to make.
What about Bill Richardson?
No.
Don't think so?
I much prefer Joe Biden. If you're going to talk about white, rich white
Well,
males.
he's already said he's not the guy. He told the press,
Richardson
like
said he's
yesterday,
not the
no,
guy?
Biden said this like yesterday or the day before, he said, I'm not the guy. So I'm thinking it's Evan Bayh for Obama. But the big controversy over McCain's VP choice is whether he's going to pick someone who's pro-choice. And that would either be Ridge or Lieberman. And
it's fantastic when you consider the leader of the free world, the leader of the world's most powerful nation, the man who, with his finger on the, I mean, I go on and on and on. The whole choice should come down to whether you quote these two slogans, pro-choice, pro-life. Anyone with any sense has got to be pro-choice and pro-life. Anyone sensible is going to say, of course we're not in favour of abortion, but we are manifestly behind a woman's right to choose. Women have to have their own reproductive rights under their own control, within the limits allowed by law. So we divide pregnancy up into the 3 trimesters, and the rights of the woman get gradually
but the law can
whittled
always be
down.
changed too. But I want to ask you what you think, because I know you disagree with me on this, so that's why I want to bring it up, is should a person be...
It's like an argument over the kitchen table.
I feel privileged to be a fly on the wall here.
Do you think that a person should vote for the person or the party?
I'd like to defer to my friend Garret.
No, I want to hear, because your opinion is he's very big on political parties, and he likes the 2-party system, and he thinks that people should vote the party line. You know, that's what it should be. It shouldn't be based on personality or differences between candidates. It's the party versus the party, and that's it. That's what you always talk about.
Is this true, Charles?
Absolutely, 100% true, yeah. This is not a contest for the next American Idol.
I don't think that
this is not a question
choosing
of
a person
it's
instead of a party has anything to do with that.
Don't you? Well, I do. This is the way people talk.
Well,
I like so-and-so. I like so-and-so. No.
I like the way...
The only thing that counts
I like
is
the way Obama sings.
And politics.
He's good.
Parties are groups of people with a common vision. Yes, I do support parties. I wish the party system in this country was a lot stronger than it is. I really do.
What if you don't agree with either party?
Yeah,
like
that's my
someone
point.
like me. I mean, I don't agree with either
party.
party.
How do you expect to find in one party, a party that really aligns with everything you believe?
And what if you're a candidate? Now you're going to have to support something you don't believe in simply
I don't
because it's
even
the party
align with everything I believe.
I know that.
That's understandable.
That is understandable.
Nothing aligns with everything you want. This is like the Alison, the Wizard of Oz version of life. Oh, I wish things were different.
No, you see,
I wish
Charles,
I could find someone who agrees with everything I agree.
Of course,
with.
but see, the thing is, for president, we need to pick somebody who was more likely to be above partisan politics.
Oh, well, why don't, you know, that was the mistake, getting rid of George III. We have a perfectly good queen. She's above partisan politics. Yes.
She doesn't make decisions.
I think you've put your head on it. Your
He put his head on it.
My finger.
Your finger on it. This is the whole problem. This person is not above partisan politics. This person is right in the thick of it,
Which
slugging
person?
out the president.
That's not true. That's
No,
what, if we
no.
get someone like John McCain, that's not going to happen. And hopefully Obama is not
But
going
it has
to be.
to happen. That's the way the
No.
system is.
It
You want
shouldn't.
someone
No,
like
That's
it
the
that.
should
problem.
not. That's the
the
whole
problem with
problem
George
with our
Bush.
system.
That's the
Yeah.
problem with George Bush. It's the problem with Bill Clinton. We've got to find somebody who's going to say, all right, look, I'm a Democrat, I'm running, but when I become president, I become president of the whole country. And it's my job to reconcile the differences between the Democrats in Congress and the Republicans in Congress, to get them to work together and say, we're doing this for the good of the country. It's just an incidental, you know, matter of coincidence that the president is a Democrat or a Republican.
You just want everything to be glowed right.
I do.
Oh, you just don't want to be in Kansas anymore.
You know the
yes,
thing.
let's go down the yellow
What's
brick
up
road
with
and
Kansas?
find the Wizard of Oz.
What's the matter with
This is
Kansas?
what you want with Kansas. Kansas is a lovely state.
There's nothing wrong with it. In fact,
Another-
Dorothy went back to Kansas. didn't
Another
she?
Charles
thing-
keeps putting down Kansas.
I
I
know.
think this is
Putting
going to
down
alienate all the
Kansas.
Kansas viewers out there.
No,
We have a lot
Kansas
of
is
them, too.
reality. You know, the land of Oz
That's what I always say.
is what you're both talking about. That's what I...
No, we're not. We're not
I'm
talking about. We're
suggesting.
talking about the way it should be in this country, because we have a third independence in this country, and they need to be paid attention to. And
That's
they,
true. It's
I think absurd that
more
everybody
Americans
just
are
thinks
not
everybody's a Democrat or
or
Republican.
Republican.
Yeah, it needs to be nonpartisan and not bipartisan talk from the politicians. However, another issue that you and I disagree on.
Well, wait a minute. You and I are having a partisan conversation right now, and we're married. This theory that you can get away from partisanship is simply absurd.
No.
Yes, actually, if you want to see non-partisans, just go down to the graveyard.
Go down to the graveyard?
Yeah, they're non-partisan.
Because they're dead.
They're not in the fray, are they?
Right. Well, that
another-
doesn't mean
another-
that's never prevented them from voting in most
That's true.
Texas elections. You know.
Well, you also think that the Congress and the executive branch should be the same party. So he doesn't believe, you know, like the economists say, they like the idea when you have like a Democratic Congress and a Republican president, or they like it to be more stagnant, you know, as far as not being able to get things done. Whereas Charles thinks it should be a sweep. The one party should just sweep everything.
You'd like to go to a parliamentary system with a party.
That's what he wants. If Obama gets in, it should just be all the Republicans have to get on a boat and go some other country because they're not wanted here anymore, essentially, or vice versa, right?
Why don't you express your own view?
Instead of trying to interpret
Stop trying to express my view.
That's a good point.
Okay, what are your views?
Well, no,
I defer to my friend Garret. He's got views.
I've got lots of views. You know, what do you want to know? Ask me anything.
And I think that this has to do with, I mean, when I think about this idea of whether, I mean, the idea, do you think it's good or bad that the parties, you know, that you have two separate parties, different one in the Congress than in the White House? Do you think it's better for things to be more stagnant or things to move forward more quickly? And I think okay, go on.
I think we need to absolutely get over the polarization. You know, that has been the biggest, you know, bugaboo that we've faced the past 8 years, is this incredible polarization. And everyone has different theories about who started it, who caused it more, but both parties have been exacerbating it, and you know, we need to find a president, elect a president who will be able to rise above it and get, you know, and encourage others to do so.
He likes to laugh.
The last time this country was united was during the Revolutionary War. And actually, even that's not
During
true.
World War II.
Because half the country was Tory during the Revolutionary War.
Right.
But as soon as the Treaty of Paris was signed, I'm sure you remember that.
Oh, of course.
Of course you do.
Like it was yesterday.
1783, yes, the British said, okay, we're off. Then party politics began in this country. It was held at bay during the two terms, I think, or one term of George Washington, and then the Adams and Jefferson went at it, and it's been like that ever since.
Okay, well, I'm going to
I
ask
have
to
no
go to the
problem
next
with that.
topic because we're again talking.
Okay.
So, on a scale from 1 to 10, how happy are you?
Well, I'm married to you, Charlotte, so I'm going to say 10.
Oh, that was smart, actually. What about you?
Well, I would say I'm 11.
Oh, because the Wizard of Oz answer again.
Well, they did. They did a experiment. A scientist did a poll and 80,000 people and came up with the happiest places on Earth. And do you think United States or Japan would be happier? I know you already know this poll.
I don't know, but I think the United States is happier than Japan.
Okay.
I'd say so too.
Correct.
I agree.
And I think it has to do with the conformity issue because all the Asian countries are kind of at the bottom of the poll, and so and there's more conformity, and the idea of society matters more than the individual. So that's my take on it.
Maybe they have higher expectations.
Oh, you've read the article too.
No, I haven't.
No,
that's really why I know the.
Bahamas or Iceland, which is happier?
Which one?
Bahamas or Iceland?
Oh, that's a difficult one.
I would say Bahamas.
No, it's Iceland.
Really? Iceland.
Iceland,
yeah.
Which you would think it's all cold there. Why would anybody
be happy? Iceland is more. Right. If you said Greenland, I would have said Bahamas.
Oh, okay,
But I mixed up Iceland and Greenland.
So it's Denmark, Switzerland. The United States is number 23. Great Britain is number 41.
You'll
know. And you are from Great Britain.
In the happiness stakes?
In the happiness stakes. And
Which
England,
is going to be, by the way, it's going to be an Olympic event next.
That's right. The Chinese are going to host it. When they cart people up to jail for disagreeing.
So I'm actually going to train for that event. I'm going to be on the U.S. happiness team.
In England, 81% of the population said that the government should focus on making people happier rather than wealthier.
I think they should focus on making them sadder.
That makes no sense. Makes no sense. No sense.
No sense to make them happy?
Okay, the next topic is prettiest girls. Which country has the prettiest girls? Where do you think of the prettiest girls?
I think Los Angeles is high on the list.
City?
Right.
A city?
City. It's a city.
Yeah. City,
Los Angeles is 5th on the list.
I'd say Stockholm is very high.
You're right. Number 1.
Oh, gosh.
Buenos Aires is 3rd. Copenhagen is 2nd. And Varna, Bulgaria is 4th.
Varna, Bulgaria.
And what I thought was interesting was because I thought when I read this article initially, I thought this is a very subjective thing, and I don't understand how you.
I am too.
However, it's really not necessarily so subjective because there's something called face symmetry.
Oh.
And there are little tests you can take on the internet where you get to pick out like which is better looking. And it's extremely interesting, and they want to know things like where you're from, what your age is, if it's that time of month or not, if you're a woman, because actually you pick more symmetrical faced men if you at a higher fertility time.
Oh, really?
Which is very interesting. And the women that are more attractive pick more symmetrical men and vice versa.
By attractive means symmetrical?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I guess so. Yeah.
Element of.
And also, if you have a certain type of person you like an aggressive woman or you like a very passive woman. There were these 4 women, and you pick the one that you think's the prettiest. And it might even be the same woman. They look so much alike, and they're all really pretty. And it was very interesting because you look at them, and just by the look on their face, you say, "Oh, that's an aggressive woman. Well, that's a passive one." You can really tell the difference, and it was interesting to see. I picked the more assertive woman is the one that I thought was the prettiest, but I thought that the passive one was also very attractive. So it was really pretty interesting that there's this, objective way to look at looks.
Very interesting. Well, my
Do you think
face
you're
is never. No, my face is not.
You're not symmetrical.
No, mine either.
I've suffered from asymmetry too.
Me too.
Is there some way you can get help for that?
I'd like to find women who find asymmetrical men attractive. So is there a blog for that?
Asymmetrical women. You could start one called asymmetricalwomen.com or something.
Who needs those asymmetrical women? They're all dogs anyway. Oh, did I say that?
That
was a shocking thing to say.
And that's a speciesist thing. Dogs are people too.
Right. Well, symmetrical dogs, I like them.
But the next topic I think you know a lot about, Charles, and it has to do with eyesight. And I found this, you told me you read a book, and I did not read this book, I admit. But it has to do with why we are either farsighted or nearsighted. And they said that 30% of Americans are nearsighted and 60% are farsighted. Now, why did you, I don't know if you do you know anything about the origins or the potential origins of sight? No, you've told me about this once before, so I thought this is really interesting.
But what I told you had nothing to do with far and near sight. What I told you had to do with focused vision and peripheral vision, which is, to me, a far more interesting topic. And so
Wake up, wake up.
Sorry.
He's first. What are your
Okay, tell us about focused vision now.
As opposed to peripheral vision.
Well, you know, you can have a disease that wipes out your focused vision,
Right.
and so you only have peripheral vision, and there is
Macular degeneration being one.
something like that, and you can have another kind of disease that wipes out your peripheral vision and leaves you with focused vision. Question that I would put then is, which would you prefer? If you had to suffer one disease, what portion of your eyesight would you rather be left with?
At a distance. I'd rather see it at a
No,
distance.
I'd rather see the focused vision rather than peripheral vision.
Wrong answer. What about yours?
I didn't understand what you're saying,
No.
but I like to see it at a distance.
The problem with focused
I was like not paying attention. I'm sorry.
the thing about peripheral vision is that it gets you around in the world. You can live without your focus. If you lose all your peripheral vision, it's like looking at life through a straw. It's virtually impossible to see because you've got no.
Well, can you read with peripheral vision?
Yeah, you can read with peripheral vision, and also you can shoot down enemy aircraft with peripheral vision.
That's
This is
good
a
because there's so much enemy aircraft in my neighborhood.
I'm waiting for the Russians to come.
The detail. No, I mean, it's a very interesting. I mean, to me, you asked about this question. I don't think it's going to rivet the world. But,
Well, no, I mean, I have a different hypothesis
imagine going
here.
around,
So
seeing your whole life through a straw.
that'd be terrible.
Well, it depends how much focused vision. I mean, yeah, the straw wouldn't be,
Well,
but I would rather.
Everything depends. If you have some focused vision, you're all right.
Right.
But if you had to choose, it's one of these silly, questions.
Right.
Would
Well,
you,
what I read was that farsighted people are good at back in our ancestors, that they were obviously good at lookout. The nearsighted are better groomers, and that the hypothesis
Wait,
is
nearsighted are the ones.
the groomers, the gatherers.
Wait,
The farsighted would be the
nearsighted
hunters.
means you can't see far away, right?
Right.
Nearsighted means you can't
Right,
see far.
right.
Farsighted means you can't see close up.
Farsighted you can see at a distance. Nearsighted.
No, that's not. I don't think that's
Yeah.
true.
It's far-sighted, you see at a distance.
Okay,
Nearsighted, you see close up.
So the farsighted ones are the hunters, and the gatherers are the nearsighted, and therefore the reason why we have a combination in society is because it helps everybody be able to work together to accomplish the tasks of society. That's what the theory is.
Well, it's nothing to do with the way we live now.
Okay, why do men have beards? Next question.
Oh.
These are all hypotheses.
We're off vision now?
Yeah, these are all like related though. They're
Because
similar
I'll tell you
type of
why.
topics.
Because their faces are asymmetrical.
They have to hide it.
And also, as is well known, which I read, kissing a man without a beard is like eating venison without salt.
Is that right?
Well, it's because of cold climates, and the men that from the tropical regions actually don't get beards. That's what I read. So it's actually completely.
To keep you warm.
It's to keep you warm. Why are men bigger than women?
Because women are mostly
protection?
rather short.
Because if they weren't, they would be extinct. I don't know.
But why? Okay, but
Women wouldn't date them. It's a Darwinian thing.
men have to fight off other people and animals in our ancestry.
Why don't women?
But women,
yeah.
because there's not enough food, the women need to be smaller so that there's enough rationing of food.
Okay.
So therefore, that's why women are shorter. This is what.
Whose theory is this?
These are theories I read off the internet. It can be completely off base.
That
But they
internet
kinda-
is smart.
But they make
I'm telling you.
sense. Why do women have higher voices than men?
Why is the internet so much smarter than us?
That's a good question.
Why do women have higher voices than men?
I'm sure there's a good
because
answer.
I have.
This is like a quiz, though.
It is.
This isn't a
because deeper
discussion.
voices carry. Well, I can go on.
Deeper
to the next
voices
topic.
carry?
They carry longer distances.
No, well, really?
Well, that's what it said.
Shrill.
And the women didn't want to. They couldn't be loud because they're always at home, and they would alert the other tribes that they were there, and then they could be killed. So they had to have voices that didn't carry as far.
Well, why couldn't they all get along and not be partisan?
That's right.
Couldn't they be non-partisan, Garret? Don't say this polarization has been going on since cavemen.
Cavemen.
Did you know that Donald Trump has bought Ed McMahon's house?
Is that right? I heard that Ed McMahon fell upon hard times.
He did. His house was in foreclosure.
Really?
And he owed money to Countrywide Bank, as did pretty much everybody that.
So where's
an awful
Ed?
lot of people that are having problems with their.
So Ed is
home.
homeless now?
Well, no. Now Donald Trump has decided to bail him out, and he's going to rent back from Donald Trump, which I'm not sure if this is a publicity stunt. I would assume it is, but that is what's currently happening. And I was going to talk about the housing market a little bit.
Well, go ahead.
So what do you think? What do you think of not only the housing market, but the economy? Do you think that you know, do you think that this is a country of whiners? Or do you think we have a serious problem? Phil Graham.
Phil Graham.
Yeah.
Just before he lost his
before he was killed.
Before he's
politically
they call
killed.
The term is thrown under the bus nowadays.
That's true.
That's the,
thrown under the Straight Talk Express bus.
thrown or kicked to the curb or thrown under the bus.
Right.
Which I like that.
Right.
I don't know. Well, I don't think things are probably not as bad as they say, but it's all perception is reality. You know, perception is.
Yeah, I mean,
perception.
but I sort of think Phil Graham has a point, frankly, because we're so used to having it so good. Gas prices have been very high in Europe for a long time, and we get a slight increase, and everybody freaks out.
It's not a slight increase. It's like a doubling.
Well, I mean, but think about what they've been paying in Europe for so long.
Well, that's because of the taxes. They tax the hell out of their gas. I mean, is that true? What I mean is.
Well, the fact is that Europeans pay a lot more for gas, whatever the
gasoline,
reason is.
Petrol,
gasoline.
Uh-huh.
But so there may be multiplicity of reasons for that, but they do pay a lot more for gas, and they're used to paying a lot more for gas. And your point's well taken. In a lot of Europe has very good public transport systems established. Yeah. This country is
so they don't need
pretty inadequate.
They don't need to burn gas
in terms of public transportation. But that was a political decision, you know, to keep the price of gas low. In this city, the public transportation systems were systematically dismantled for a period of time. Now, at enormous expense, cities trying to, you know, re-establish them. But what's the point of this whole conversation?
Well, I mean, I just wanted to discuss the economy and get your take on it. And, you know, I mean, to me, I think it's been great that we've had high gas prices because the first time, I mean, I'm really sad that they're coming down because I think that it's the first time that I've heard everybody on the same page about being, you know, environmentalism and alternatives to oil and this and that.
Well, I don't think that's going to change now. I mean, I think that people.
I haven't heard people talking about it ever since gas prices started coming down. It's like people have forgotten all about it.
Not coming down that much. They're $3.90. It's like, you know.
I don't know. People are pretty happy now. They don't feel the crunch on it.
They're not happy. They're just not whining.
they're lowering on that happiness scale. They're getting down to some of the Asian countries.
They're just not whining as much.
But I actually have to wrap it up now.
Oh, you do?
I'm sorry, but we'll talk about this. We will talk about this in the next show because we didn't really get into the topic. But I want to thank everyone for joining us. I hope we put some uncommon sense into your life. As you putter through your day, remember, everybody's wrong but me. See you next time.
Or me.
Or him.
Even though some of them might come with college degrees, it's getting hard to separate the facts from fiction. But I think I can say with obvious conviction that in this old world, everybody's wrong but me. Everybody's wrong to disagree with me. That really chaps my